let's get this started. I think one thing I need to do more in my VOD reviews is like start with a set of expectations, and then we talk about like how you meet them or where you come up short. So with Zarya, I don't have we done Zarya in an individual VOD review with you before? I'm not sure if I have. But if I haven't, Zarya's primary job is to build energy as fast as possible, um, and then have bubbles for when the fight actually starts, right? So in a lot of cases, you have to build your energy during the fight because you don't really have a choice. But in some cases, you can, if you're communicating with your Reinhardt, you can ask for charge beforehand and then just play conservatively until the bubbles come back up. And then after that, your only job is to stay alive because just by being alive, you'll output a lot of damage. Um, and yeah, we'll see how that works out. All right. Not a whole lot to talk about here. It's just very awkward. So this bubble is, it's a good bubble, except your Ryan got in the way. Hey, Troubled. That's Yeet to mean, right? Oh, huge. Nice. I remember you said like you only started playing like 4 months ago too, right? Congrats, dude. Climbing hard. Yeah, so this bubble's really awkward. It's well intentioned, but the problem is like, your Ryan's blocking it. Not really on you. But yeah, you do okay. Um, but yeah. You kind of have to get bubble off your or value off your projected bubble now. So right here, again, your primary job is looking for a bubble, right? So you need to read your Ryan's body language and see if he's about to push or not. I think about 6 months. I mean, that's still really good. 6 months to masters, holy. Um, and yeah, so you need to be looking. You need to be reading your body. So earlier on, you're reading your Ryan's body language, but you didn't have to. Like you walked out of spawn, you saw your Ryan go left instead of right, and you're like, I'm gonna follow my Ryan and go this way, despite the fact it's actually technically slower to get to this point, right? Um, so when you're coming out of spawn, you don't really care what your Ryan's doing, right? But once you get to the point where a decision has to be made, like whether the Ryan's going this way, whether it's going this way, whether it's going this way, then you need to read your Ryan's body language, right? When there's actual like branching paths, right? So here, you read your Ryan's body language, you followed him this way, right? And you get to here, and suddenly you're like, I gotta worry about what I can shoot, right? But this is when you actually need to read him, because this is when you need to know when to bubble, right? If he's just sitting here, you can bubble him right now and get some charge, right? Maybe not right now specifically, but you can look to bubble him and get charge. Or if he's about to push really hard, right? Then you need to be like in LOS to bubble him, right? You don't have to necessarily to follow him, but you do need LOS to bubble him. So that means if your Ryan's about to push, right? You just sit here, right? And then either you go in with him, right, and bubble him, or you bubble him and then go right, right? And you get your energy, and then you like the Ryan will tend to force people in this direction. So either you follow the Ryan in and shoot the people he's chasing out, right, or clear the off angle, or right, you just try and catch the off angle or catch them running away from the Ryan, where like they start running away from the Rhine with the bubble, right? They presumably shoot the bubble, you have some charge, and you stand here and you shoot them, right? But again, like, don't worry about this. Focus on your bubble, right? This positioning is fine, but if your Rhine starts going this way, you're going to lose LOS of him, right? And that's not necessarily on the Rhine, that's on you, right? You just need to camp until you know what he's going to do, right? So this is like as far as you can go, really. If you go any further, like, there's a problem. Alright, so your Rhine's going here, right? He hasn't committed yet, though, unfortunately. Alright, he's committing, so that's a bubble. Nice, that's a really good bubble. Alright, easy way to get charge. You don't really want to do this very much, because again, you don't really want to stack with your Ryan too much. But an easy way to get charge is when your Ryan, when you bubble your Ryan and then he starts backing up, right? You just step in front of him and bubble, and you'll probably catch something. I ideally look for focus, right? If you look, no one's actually looking at your Ryan, so the odds of you being focused are relatively low. But in most cases, this will work. In this case, your Ryan team's pretty split, which is why your Ryan's not actually eating focus. But the bubble's fine. Yeah, but you see where you've ended up, right? Like, if you just look, your team's off-angling on this side, your Ryan's off-angling the other, and you're just kind of sitting in the middle, right? And this is kind of where you don't want to be as Zarya. You just want to pick one side and really focus on it, right? Because your job is to off-angle. Off-angle, build energy, do damage, right? Stay alive. um, and this is like the most main you can get, right? That said, if they're running dive, you do need to protect your supports, right? But in this case, right, the fight's already more or less won, right? So protecting stand top of your map is less important than it was earlier. Again, instead of shooting like the ball, which you kind of shot him on every pass through, and you did like, I don't know, probably like 150 damage overall. Like there was a Tracer fighting your DPS over here, right? Like watch them, because they're gonna, one of them might need a bubble. That Tracer's good, right? Tracer in theory will beat both these heroes in 1v1s, and she almost killed both of them, right? So you gotta watch out over there instead of watching the ball, right? Especially when you know that's happening on the side. If you don't know, right, that's whatever, right? But in this case, you saw it happening on your screen, and then you chose to focus on the ball anyways, right? So here you see the Tracer, right? You're still watching the ball. Tracer, still watching the ball. Tracer, still watching the ball. Tracer's dead, right? So you spent 3 circles of this ball going in circles, despite the fact that he doesn't have point, by the way. That's also really important, is that you have point, so it doesn't matter if he like stalls, right? And second, right, make sure your team doesn't die to Tracer, because Tracer's the real threat, right? So tanks are scary, but DPS in the middle of your team are even more scary. Because it's normally so much harder for them to be able to do that. What is that lamb? Whatever. Alright. Solid bit of AFK. AFK, I need to enunciate better. Gotta take high ground! Nice. A little bit late, but... Oh. More AFK. Yeah, do you see, like, you didn't even think about bubbling your teammates, right? They got slammed in full view of the enemy team, and you didn't look to see who might actually need help, right? Like, both these teammates are like kind of lowish, and they're both actually half or below, right? And you're not looking at them, you're shooting the ball, right? And against priorities, right? Yes, shooting the ball is great, but you have 0 charge, and there's actually 0 way this ball dies unless it gets trapped. Like, your team has 0 CC. Look at this. Trap, boop, which doesn't work because, you know, the direction he's facing. No CC, no CC, no CC. I mean, he's down here, right? So your damage is essentially irrelevant against the ball. It's nice, right, if you can do it while doing everything else. But you gotta know your priorities, right? Your priority is to look to one bubble in these people in case they die, right? In fact, it's a very safe bubble. Like, you maybe, if you're very certain that no one can follow up on this slam, right? So maybe it's like a div over here, and then like, I don't know, their DPS like a Reaper, Sombra, or something, right? Like, maybe in that case, right, you don't have to bubble, but like, at least look at them in case you feel like you might need to, right? It turns out like maybe an honest sniping at one of them, you bubble them, right? And that way you get some charge and you keep them from dying, right? But this is really scary because you're not looking at them, you're looking at the ball, and these guys are dying in front of you, right? And one of them does die. You drop it as well, that's super awkward. Alright, so you look at that, right? So yes, you baited them in a kind of a rough fight, but what did it cost, right? It cost you your bubble, it cost your team immortality, you almost died if they like maybe had like the McCree hit like an extra headshot or something. And your entire team drops to help you, right? So first of all, don't drop. Again, prioritize off-angling. In this case, your off-angle is the high ground, right? You'll get your energy, don't worry about it, right? And then second, right? Because you dropped and felt like you need to get energy, you walked straight into McCree flashbang and almost died. So be really careful about this stuff, right? You want to let Ryan's lead action, and then you split off from the Ryan, right? So the Ryan goes this way, like maybe he goes this way, and then you would push this way, right? Or maybe he goes this way and you push out wide, right? But you let the Ryan spearhead the action, don't like do it first, right? Or if you are gonna wrap the corner, don't wrap close to the corner where you like suddenly it's surprise, right? You wrap wide because you have range, unlike Ryan, right? Again, priorities, right? You're focusing a baby diva, right? Alright, you killed this guy, that's good. There's a diva on your backline, right? That's great. Like, focusing this guy's good, right? But if you want to help, first of all, you want to bubble this, right? And second, right, you're being shot by a pharmacy, right? This is the real off angler, right? In this case, it's not really a main angle and off angle anymore. Everything's off angling because it's a mess. But this is like the real danger, right? So as soon as you demech this diva, right, you need to reprioritize, right? So you're not able to bubble in time, so she kills your BAP. That's fine. It happens, right? But right, you're being shot by Pharaoh rockets right now, and you just straight up ignore it in order to reload and okay. So yes, reloading when a diva is dying is good because there's a gap, right? A gap you can exploit, or a gap where you can where nothing's going on. But right now, stuff is going on. You're being shot by Pharah, a damage boosted Pharah, right? Who has got you like nearly half, right? That's kind of scary. Okay, well, she stopped damage boosting, but and then second of all, you use this opportunity to reload when you're at 86 ammo. So yes, it's good to reload when the diva's demeching because nothing's going on. But if there is stuff going on, you gotta resist the urge, right? Like reprioritize, right? You dealt with the diva, right? Diva's done with, right? You don't need to hard focus the baby diva afterward. Deal with this first. Force this guy out, make her take damage, make her back up. Because if you're playing DPS, if you take damage, your first reaction isn't to stand there and keep shooting, right? Your first reaction is to back up as far as you can, right? Get away from the threat, ask for healing, right? And now this Mercy's attention split, and then you kill the baby diva, right? And then you go back to the far, right? So it's you're sort of with off tank a lot of we talk a lot about juggling responsibilities because there's just so much you have to do, right? But in the case of off angles, right? If the enemy team doesn't time it well, you can sort of just bat them down one at a time, right? I don't know, it's like whack-a-mole, right? This guy comes up here, you shoot him, he backs down, right? And then this baby diva now sees you not looking at her, maybe walks forward to get some headshots, and then you focus her and you kill it, right? It's you're just hitting one at a time, right? So you hit the diva already, right? So now you need to hit the Pharah because the Pharah is shooting you and taking an aggressive position, right? So whoever's in an aggressive position as off tank, you just hit them back, right? Because you hit harder than almost all of them. So high energy Zarya, Sigma, Diva, Roadhog, they're all really good at this, and that's what makes them off tanks, right? Main tanks don't really do that. Main tanks, they kind of just force openings, right? But they don't actually control space the way off tanks do. Off tanks just beat up people who try to take their space. So yeah, play whack-a-mole. Hit this guy, then hit this guy, and then go back to hitting this guy, right? But you can't just hard focus on this guy and let this guy do whatever he wants, because then you're not doing your job, right? Do your job first. Right, do you see how much ult this Pharah got? Despite how bad she is? Because your team is so focused... I went too far back. Because your team is so focused on this diva, right? This baby diva, no less, right? 38, 39. She's missing rockets. 45, 48. Your team beat it, and then gave this Pharah 25% ult. Killing a baby diva. And then there's actually a risk of you dying now that you got slammed. This Pharah had good aim, right? Because you have no bubble as well, do you? Actually, let me confirm that. Yeah, you have no bubble. So there's actually a real risk if this was Yinza or whatever his name is. Number 1 Pharah 1 trick, right? He could just kill you with a direct rocket into a grounded rocket. So be careful with this stuff. That's a good focus. Alright, again, as soon as you get that kill, right? Don't walk back under, right? Don't regroup with your Rhine. Start going up to high ground, and then turn around to check if your team needs a bubble, right? If your team doesn't need a bubble, keep going, right? If they do need a bubble, right? Then stop where you are, bubble them, and see what you need to do. And if there's something you can do still, go high ground again, right? Clear the high ground, right? And be in position for another fight.
I am injured.
You're going high ground after fights, right? But it should be almost immediate, right? As soon as things look at all settled, start thinking about high ground again. Yeah, don't follow your Rhine. He wants to play that spot, that's fine. You play up here. Just don't get booped. Also spam, yeah, that's fine. Just keep spamming. Don't drop! Did you get booped? Is that what happened? Make sure I didn't unnecessarily flame you there. No, you just dropped. Why'd you drop? Stay on high ground, right? Think about it, right? From here, you can shoot the Pharah, right? We talked about hitting the people with the whack-a-mole, right? You hit this guy, she has to back up or dies, and if she doesn't get a mercy pocket, she just straight up dies, right? If she gets a mercy pocket, she'll be back here, and then we'll have cooldowns. We'll have to try and figure out how to get back up here, right? And then second, if you're down here, you can't shoot the Pharah, right? Just intuitively, right? On high ground, you can shoot the Pharah. On low ground, you cannot shoot the Pharah, right? So that is reason number 1 why high ground is good. You get to shoot more people. You have better angles and better LOS. right? And now you can't shoot the diva either, right? So you're trying to play whack-a-mole, but you can't actually whack any of the moles right now, and it feels terrible. It's a good bubble. You should try and grab any squishy you can find, really. Oh, your Ryan's in so much trouble. A bubble, like, again, right? You usually have time when you're being focused. Sorry. So either, right, you'll see their attention turn, right, and they'll throw projectiles at you, like say the ball will slam or something. He's the projectile now, and you can get some energy that way. Or you wait until they actually turn and focus you. Don't expect a focus and just bubble, because in a lot of cases they just either won't shoot you, or you'll just mispredict and won't get any charge. Sometimes, like, this feels very hard to evaluate because sometimes you will get charged, especially at low ranks when like you just catch spam all the time randomly. But it's important to consider that, like, are you moving? You are moving. But it's important to consider that every bubble, like your bubble is like your aggression, right? So if you don't have bubble because you used it trying to get charged and didn't get any charge, suddenly you cannot go aggressive anymore, right? Suddenly you're at a very high risk of dying right after your Rhine here. So like be really careful with this because bubble is like how you like do things. Again, just okay. So this is a really bad habit. So a lot of times you grab tanks because they're the only ones you can realistically get, right? Or the only ones your team can realistically follow up on, right? But if you look, there were 3 targets for you to grab, and he chose the tankiest one, right? That's not bad, right? This guy is 100% going to die, right? And this guy is also 100% going to die because he's inting, right? But in most cases, right, you'd much rather grab a squishy that you can kill yourself in like a second or two than like tanks that you need your team to follow up on, right? And in any case, and squishies are also, because they're harder to kill, also more valuable. In a lot of cases, you grab tanks because you don't have a choice, not because you want to. And in this case, you just grab tanks because you're used to it, and you gotta like break the habit. Like I was saying earlier, like just grab any squishy. You saw that Mercy Fly pass, literally grab this spot, trap her here, and kill her, right? That's totally worth it. If you catch anyone else, it's just a bonus. If you look, right, these guys are living, right? These guys are living. This guy's also living. If you just grab this guy or grab this guy, you would probably kill either one of them, right? But you grab the tank, right? You have to catch this guy as well, right? But you grab the tank and now they both live, right? Now they all live. That's the worst outcome, right? Again, wow, she's just stepping on you. That's rude. Again, I know you want to focus the grab, but they're not dying. Focus the off angle. Hit this guy with the hammer first. Look how close he got to die, right? If you just shot him at all, he would have died, right? Now you're playing whack-a-mole. Again, you almost died before you got your bubble. Very close. And again, you didn't have bubble and you walked in, right? So when you like you use your bubble to live, right? That's fine. Use your bubble. Start backing out, right? And playing outside of the map and trying to like throw right clicks in and punish people who get too close to you. But you're not trying to walk into them without bubble. It's too risky. And now you don't have an escape, so you're just farming. That's fine. You're just not dying. I mean, at a certain point, you gotta try and run, you know? If you're just living. Okay, again, you hear that McCree on your left, right? Ignore whatever's happening here. It literally does not matter, right? Try and cut this McCree. Try and either find the McCree, bubble someone he's like going on your team, or cut him off, right? But be on this side of the map. What is this? Oh, the ball died here. Okay. But look at this side of the map because this is what's important. This is not important. There's no world in which this is actually important, right? This is what matters. The McCree in the middle of your team. He killed someone that's... I don't say necessarily that's on you, because even if you turn around, you might not be able to like react in time with the bubble. But like, at least you can you can guarantee a trade if you cut off the McCree, right? Especially since you know he has no flash. But again, you're just staring at me, and then the McCree gets out, right? This is on you, right? He walked out right in front of where you would have been, right? Alright, so again, prioritize destacking with your Rhine, right? So as soon as you and your Rhine push through this choke, go left, right? And then if you run into someone there, that sucks, right? And they kill you, that sucks as well. But you have bubble, and generally speaking, that's not going to happen that often, right? But you want, like, to split attention from your Rhine, And that way this Zarya doesn't get a billion damage from just spamming the same spot over and over again, right? Yeah. So Ryan just gets pummeled, right? Because there's all this stuff coming in from both sides, and you're focusing on the Ryan stuff instead of focusing on this side, right? So we talked a lot about this in scrims, right? When your Ryan comes out this way and starts swinging this way, you need to clear his left side for him, right? And then as soon as you dealt with left side, then you often go really hard so that your Ryan can play this side, while the enemy Ryan is just getting shot at from here, right? But you need to clear this part of the map, otherwise like your Ryan's like just gonna be eating aggro from all sides. In ideal world, your Ryan would just walk out over here, shield this, and help you like clear this, right? But if you, most Ryans don't think like that, so he's just going to run straight at the other Ryan, right? But again, how we clear chokes is you play wide, right? And your Ryan plays like whatever he needs to do, right? Build energy. I know people are saying to go bottom, but like, bubble your Ryan. Oh my god. All right. This isn't your fault. Don't worry about it. But my god, why do people go this way? There's a Pharah and a ball. This is gonna go so poorly. You guys actually gonna win this? Oh my god. Nice. Right, that's good prioritization, right? You shot the ball, and then you're like, oh my god, a Pharah. I'm gonna shoot the Pharah, right? But this only happened because the Pharah was literally in your crosshair, and then you reach and you just transferred, right? This needs to be more of an awareness thing, right? You hear the Pharah, and you're like, where's the Pharah? You look for her, and you're like, ah, there she is, and you just leave the ball, right? Right, again, right? You shoot the Mercy, but like you're taking fire from McCree, right? So where's McCree, right? Gotta constantly reprioritize, and probably use your grab here because you might die. Grab something, anything. That's good enough. All right. Oh, you lift. Bubble. Nice. So you got put into high ground position, right? Don't leave it. He just saved you, right? You're low in health, right? Just stay here and shoot this Ryan. He's in range, right? You just stand here, shoot your Ryan, shoot the Ryan, shoot the Pharah if she walks into range to try and shoot you, right? You're fine, right? And when you have higher health and bubble, right? You almost have bubble, right? And as soon as your health starts regenning, right? Then you walk out, try and make a play, right? And then regroup back on high ground when your bubble's starting to expire or something, right? But until then, right? Just chill where you are. He already saved you. But you're exposing yourself to damage when you don't need to, right? And to be honest, when you're too close to people, it's harder to track them, right? You make your own life harder, right? You made it difficult to track them back, but if you just stand here and don't move, right? It's actually so easy, right? Again, why are you chasing this guy in circles when there's a Pharah right here, right? Priorities, right? You're still chasing this guy. You're eating Pharah rockets. She's on your screen for a second, right? And you don't shoot her, right? This is again priorities. It doesn't. This is something that like the Hickman team experienced a lot as well, right? Is that like they'll be like still Ryan, right? Like they'll just go on. Sorry, there's stuff in my throat. They'll just call like one guy until the end of time, right? But like this guy is full health now. Like he's been healing, right? And your team hasn't really been able to do damage to him because he's a Reinhardt with a shield and he runs around and like he heals, right? So this guy on the other hand has no mercy pocket and is also on an off angle. And she's in your beam range, right? So just walk at her, shoot her, force her to do something, right? And then go back to the Ryan who will now probably be walking at you trying to swing and then not shielding, right? And now the Mercy has to make a decision on who to heal, right? And you just do more damage and try to force damage on a Ryan that's not going to take damage anyways, right? That's what I mean. Like you got to be willing to. Like, you're playing whack-a-mole, right? Don't overfocus. Don't stare down one hole with the mole, right? That might come out when there's a mole staring at you right over here, right? Yeah. So your Hanzo handles the Pharah and the Mercy. Or not the Mercy, but like, you know. So you get a lot of kills here, right? But do you know why this worked? Do you know why the Mercy stopped healing the Rhine? Because your DPS are looking at her and shooting her, right? Where's your Hanzo? Actually, not your Hanzo, but your Maku was looking at this Pharah, so the Mercy felt pressured to help the Pharah, right? And then, and this guy died. Imagine if you just took like 2 seconds to shoot this guy, and then when the Mercy flew over you, and the Pharah like ran away from you or something, then you either just killed the Mercy or you killed the Rhine, right? Yeah. And then you get all the cleanup kills, right? As soon as the Rhine falls. Alright, that was 26 minutes on one round. Oh boy. Okay, so again, whatever you do, right, don't stack with your Rhine. And also, try and find where the stickies are, or bait the stickies onto yourself before you use self-bubble, because you need that energy. And so, like, the stickies already flew past you for the most part, right? So you shouldn't bubble that. If you can bubble these shots, that's great, right? So this is a net profit in energy, but like, it's not a ton, right? And also, again, right, there's no one here on the enemy team, so you really want to like use your bubble to like take space and get over here, right? You want to like take this off angle. And if you run into anyone here who's threatening, like a Reaper or McCree, right, then you back out, right? But for the most part, you want to get here and see if it's safe, right? But this is map control. This is not map control, right? Do you see this? Not map control. Not map control. Map control, right? It's a world of difference having someone here. That person can be you. It's a good bubble. Again, why does this wall block you, right? Why does this wall block you? Like, it's good to get the bubble off in time, right? But why does this wall block you? It's because you're behind your Rhine and not to the side of your Rhine. See this? This wall does not affect you in any way, right? This wall does, right? And it's just a matter of angles, right? Instead, you're ramming yourself into the wall, trying to help your Rhine, right? Again, right? Where are you? You're right next to your Rhine, right? What's going on over here? Literally nothing. Why are you eating hammer swings, right? It's because you're next to your Rhine. Why'd you use your bubble for like 2 seconds of Mei freeze, right? It's because you're next to your Rhine, right? Imagine how hard it would be for the Mei to get to you and start freezing you all over here, right? You'd see it coming from a mile away, you'd be able to save bubble for it, and then you could just kill her, right? Or force her all her cooldowns, and meanwhile, that's pressure off of your Reinhardt, right? And if the Mei ignores you, right, then you're just you're shooting for free into their side, right? What are they going to do about it, you know? Meanwhile, like, what's happening here is the enemy team is off-angling your backline, and they're dying, right? Meanwhile, like, you're here, right? This is cool, but nothing is happening here. I just want to emphasize that. They walled, both teams lamp, you're using all your bubbles, they're using all their HP and shields, and all the healing is going on here, but if you look at it, like, all the cooldowns are happening here, but nothing is happening. Nothing is actually happening here. Where does the first kill happen? Right here, right? This is the off angle. This is what really matters, right? Like, this is kind of an off angle, except it's really risky because you're so close to them, and it also is blocking LOS with your team, right? So again, you'd much rather be over here, where you can do all the same stuff from further away, and also see your whole team. Woo! Yeah, you're dead. You can build energy in spawn, by the way, just FYI. If they're spamming the spawn door, you can literally just bubble in spawn and get energy. Again, don't stare down your Rhine. Your Rhine's really not supposed to take a lot of damage walking in, for the most part. He's supposed to solve it with padding, stuff like that. But either you're telling your Rhine to walk into damage so you can bubble him for charge, or he's just going to walk in without the bubble, and you don't want to bubble him until he gets in, right? So staring down your Rhine isn't really the best. You want to actually get in front of him so you can self-bubble yourself, because that's something you can control, right? And then see if you can bubble your Rhine in the meantime, right? Unfortunate. You got your energy, though. Necessary sacrifice. Right, this is good. This is whack-a-mole, right? This guy flies up, you shoot him, right? Ah, you got the wrong bubble. Unlucky. Yeah, he was out of LOS, and then you pressed bubble too early before you actually got LOS of him. We slow it down, right? If you watch, he breaks LOS, right? So you need to jump around the corner before you bubble, right? But you bubbled too early, and you get the BAP instead, right? And now this is a free shatter. This guy's literally going to turn around and shatter now. You walked into it. No. If you, so just FYI, if you hit a pin, if an Echo Rhine hits a pin, he has shatter. If an Echo Rhine hits a pin at all, they have shatter. So if you're going to walk there, right, you need to expect it, right? So you need to have bubble up, and you need to be like popping bubble as they turn around because they're going to shatter. If not, you just play like throw a right click and duck back behind around the corner. So that way you don't at least you're not dying to the shatter, right? Oh, second shatter. Free kill, nice. Alright, I'm gonna end this after this fight probably. Oh, you going AFK again? Just run through the blizzard, yo! Right. That blizzard's okay, or grab rather. Actually, not really. Ryan died already. It was too late into the fight, right? This is a go next fight where like you just need to live, and then take the next fight off with grab because they used everything already, right? So yeah, kind of unfortunate. But the real fight that you had to win was this one, where like you missed the bubble on your the Echo kind of just fed with their ult, right? But then you missed the bubble, you fed her a shatter, and then everyone died to shatter, including you, right? And that's something like if you'd won that fight, you'd have a much better shot of winning this map, right? So first fight. Actually, that's probably never mind. First fight's more important. First fight, you need to focus more on off-angling. Don't stack with your Rhine no matter the cost, and don't get stuck in really weird situations like this. This is kind of a symptom of stacking with your Rhine though, because you're like, I gotta split from your Rhine, but you're already here, right? In that case, like just start walking back in the open. Go this way, right? Play with your team, or don't play with your team, especially not your Rhine. Play off angles, right? Control the space, right? This is map control, right? How did the Echo get here, right? The Echo got here because she walked through this hallway, basically, right? If you're here, that doesn't happen, right? And then second, right, that's more of a micro thing, but like with that bubble, right, make sure like you have LOS before you bubble. Don't just press E and assume that like it'll work, right? Because I assume you in that moment you're probably like, what the heck, I bubbled it, right? But like no, you didn't bubble. You bubbled the bat because that's the only person you have LOS of. That's not the game messing you up. That's you messing up, right? Don't worry, I know exactly what that feeling is like. Like I bubbled him, why didn't it work? But yeah. So overall for you. Your bubbles are okay. They're not that bad. You have some issues occasionally with timing, with coordination in a lot of cases. You just want to like bubble your Ryan when he's actually trying to do something, unless you're explicitly getting charged, in which case you need to tell your Ryan to take damage for you. And then positioning I think is the number one thing though. Positioning and like playing whack-a-mole, right? Hit the off angler, right? That's your job. Yeah, any questions, comments, concerns, let me know. If you get to this part of the video, DM me what 7 times 3 equals.